Hey guys, welcome into the Paint with Josh experience. It's my Monday. You guys are almost through your week, but this is my Monday because I work all weekend to provide you with just amazing live content and awesome tutorials throughout your weekend. And then my my Friday is your Monday. So I'm just getting started in my week. How's your week been going? Let us know by checking in. Tell me where you're watching from out there. Around the country, around the globe. Where are you guys from in the night? Excellent. Okay, we've got our 16 by 20 inch canvas. Okay, we're going to take our Bob Ross liquid white. If you don't know what the liquid white looks like, it looks just like this. All right, get a little jar. I think they make one size smaller than this one, but I would suggest getting that little guy. All right, you're probably going to go and use more than you need and go through it quicker than you think you're going to, right? So get the bigger jar. Now, we're going to be going through the colors we're going to be using. Our Indian Yellow from Gamblin 1980. We've got our Madder Carmine from the Meaden set. Dioxazine Purple from the Gamblin set. Van Dyke Brown from the Windsor set. We've got Yellow Ochre from the Master's Touch brand. And then Ultramarine Blue from Meaden. Alizarin Crimson from Winsor & Newton. Ivory Black from Gamblin 1980. And then Titanium White from Winsor & Newton. So I figured for the first show of the week, we'll do a cool little sunset-y, foresty little scene, maybe put a fence, maybe have a little cabin out here. So we'll take our Indian Yellow and we'll put it out here and just kind of match. We're not going to have any water in this painting, so it doesn't really matter if you match the sky to the bottom part of the canvas, honestly. It's just going to be used for some shadows when we put our white snow over it, and we'll kind of pick up those colors, right? Going to our Madder Carmine. This is very much like your crimson, your Alizarin Crimson from the Bob Ross set, or, you know, Gamblin or wherever, or Windsor or wherever, literally. It's the same thing, just I like the Meaden brand because it just spreads a little easier, right? That Meaden brand is a lot more wet than the oils that we use to make mountains and trees and stuff, you know what I mean? So it slides a lot easier around our canvas. God, I love this colored pattern, you guys. Seriously, every time you do it, it's going to look a little bit different, and that's going to make it really cool. So we'll take our Dioxazine Purple and a little bit of our Ultramarine Blue. If you don't have the purple, that's okay. Just use your blue up here and make sure you've got enough of your crimson on your brush prior so that you don't go yellow into blue and make a witchy old green sky out there. So, you guys, one more time, sorry. What'd I do? I'm sorry. Okay, check in, guys, right now. I'm seeing, okay, scroll down to the bottom. Scroll down to the bottom, and then we'll just restart them all. So I saw, let's see, Vegas. I love your paint, appreciate it. We got St. Louis, Cheshire in the UK. Thank you very much. Where are you guys watching from? We got Virginia and Florida over on the tubes, Pennsylvania on the bookie over there. Lots of people from the UK, they say. Lots of them. Connecticut. I like you guys over there. We got Missouri, Houston, Kansas. What's that one say over there? My tripod's in the way of the... oh, Iowa. There we go. It just popped up. Thank you, Len. So Houston, Kansas, Connecticut, Scotland, Shreveport, Louisiana. I almost put like Shreveport, LA, Los Angeles, obviously, right? Shreveport, Los Angeles. Everyone's been there. Well, you don't know Shreveport, Los Angeles? You've never been? How uncultured are you? You've never been to Shreveport, Los Angeles. You are insane. I suggest trying to find it. You might take your whole life trying to find that place. Let's see. We got John from, what's that say? What the hell does that say, London? Renham? Wreckham? Wrecked him, damn near killed him. Wrecked him. What's it say, though? John, right there on TikTok, right in the middle. John from Wesham? What does that say? Am I that old? Wrexham. Okay, that's because I don't recognize that word. What? Okay, you guys, remember, you guys are amazing. I love yous all. What's up? Oh, gotcha. So now that we've blocked on all of our color, we're going to make sure the edges of our canvas are all done as much as we can anyway. Right? You never want to have just blank white edges because your brush will slap the side and it will leave a colorful mark on the edge of your canvas, and then it looks unfinished. And so at least paint the edges, okay? Now we've got to go back and blend out all this color, but we can't very well do that with a brush full of color. So we've got to go into our odorless mineral spirits. I'm going to show you the cleaning bucket. If you've never seen, oh God, it's time for a new one. You can barely see the grate. There is a grate at the bottom of that sludge, okay? And on top of that grate and around that grate is odorless mineral spirits. And that looks just like this, okay? So this is the stuff you're going to want to get in order to clean off the brushes, right? You can basically dip it in and spin it a little bit, and that will literally rip off all the color and just strip it from the brush. And then you just dry your brush out real good before you get it back onto your canvas, okay? So we're going to add a little bit of this to our little paint bucket with our Bob Ross cleaning screen in the bottom of it. I'm going to dip my brush in, okay? I'm telling you, we do literally every single step tutorials. If you want to know every step on even how to clean the brush, right, I'm going to show you. So we dip in the brush, okay? Agitate it a little bit, then we pull it out. Remember, the level of the liquid is down from the top, right? That way I can lift it up, it's still inside the container, and then I can spin it back and forth to kind of free the rest of that excess thinner. Then we flick it like we're snapping somebody with a towel, you know what I mean? Like whoosh, into a trash can, and then you go into the old bucket and just beat the bajosh out of it, really, right? Let me show you what the bucket looks like. This bucket, it's a 5-gallon bucket. This one's from Lowe's, and it's nasty. But we've got this golf ball basket in the bottom. That's the same golf ball basket that I've been using since the very beginning, right? 7 years almost of painting's worth of dirty brushes have hit that golf ball basket. Crazy. You don't have to have the same one. You can have like a dish drying rack or a wooden doweling in the middle of your bucket or something to just beat the bristles onto, okay? Once we pull it out of the bucket, we always dab it on a paper towel. Always. It's 10, 12 times, 20, 30 times, however many times you got to get to make it not so wet, right? There's a little bit of wetness in there. You can see a little bit of shine in the glove right there, but it's not dripping, okay? Remember, our canvas is wet, the paints are wet. We don't need a wet brush, right? I get that question all the time. People go, is that brush wet or dry? I go, well, I mean, it's not dripping, so it is dry, but it does have paint on it. So I guess it is wet also, right? I mean, how do you answer that question? It is a dry brush, but it also has wet paint on it. You know what I mean? So it's both somehow. And as we mix back and forth, all we're going to do is crisscross back and forth. We're just making little X's or figure eights without picking the brush up. We're not going like this and picking the brush up off of the canvas, right? The shadow never leaves the canvas. And that way there's no light coming in, or our bristles are constantly contacting the paint, right? Helping it mix with that liquid white base coat that we put on. We put that liquid white up here so that these darker colors and these heavier paints would slide and blend, just like your makeup does, right? You guys have anything like that? I mean, I don't wear makeup, but London, is there anything like a base layer, like foundation, right? Does that prime? That's an Amazon thing, London. Oh, primer. Okay. Okay. You put wall primer on your guys' face? Okay. Okay. So, and then that primer stays wet so you can then take the powder, because your guys' stuff is powdery, right? So it's sticky.
Wet on top of the sticky
to
stick to the primer.
Okay.
And then you put powder on to become matte.
And then when do you apply the battle makeup? Like the
During the process.
Oh, okay, that's at the end.
Yes.
Right. Right. Then you get ready for battle. Okay. Well, thank you. So yeah. Right. So you guys do kind of have a wet base, and then you're applying, you know, makeup to it and then blending it, right? And everyone's is going to work differently. I'm sure if you have lots of wet base on your face, it might be a little bit too sloppy, right? Just like the canvas. And if you, man, look at that blend. You guys, I'm telling you, I never know what it's going to look like until we get up here and do it. And I just want to save that little piece of yellow back there now. Oh, I don't want to touch it. Right? But it's very much like your guys' makeup. And you're just blending these colors together until you feel it looks pretty. Just like you're doing when you do your makeup, right? Like, no one's in there. Your best, I mean, maybe your best friend's there, right? Telling you like, girl, no, like not that color, right? But most of the time, I'm assuming you're alone and you're just kind of blending it until you feel like it looks right. That's the same with painting. We're here alone. Nobody's telling us how to do it what looks good, when to stop, which is always the hardest thing to figure out, is when to stop painting, right? So you've got to do it a bunch of times. How long did it take you to get good at doing your makeup, right? Were you like 13 and the first time you've ever put it on, you were just boom, ready for like Vogue? No, it's probably like crazy eyeshadow and too heavy, right? So Vogue. Look, my mom, I grew up listening to Madonna in my mom's car. It was 24/7, okay? But I'm saying, like, the first time you ever put on your makeup, you probably did it too heavily. First time you put on your paint, you're probably going to do it too heavily, right? And so it takes practice and time to get good at it. So let's get into making up our deep dark color, because normally we would put in a mountain way off in the background, and I like that blend so much, I'm not even going to add clouds. You guys can add clouds if you want to, but I like that. We're going to come up here with our black, our crimson, and our blue color. Scrape it all up into this deep darkness, right? But we can't just use this pure deep dark color all the way in the background. We need to take a little bit of our white, mix it into there so it becomes a brighter version of itself, right? Then that will allow us to make more of this dark color and add fractions of it at a time so that we make that color darker and darker and darker until it's again the original darkness, right? So we have our color, we make it really bright, and then we're going to make it darker and darker and darker as we get lower on our canvas, in effect getting closer to us, okay? So let's take our Paint with Josh fan brushes, okay? Guys, I got word from the manufacturer. The brushes aren't going to be out in March. They're not going to be out in April. They're thinking more May now, but they are coming out. So we've got our Paint with Josh fan brush, which you are going to want to get. I'm telling you, we're going to wiggle it down through all that dark paint, very vertical, right? So if you've got like a paper plate or your palette's on the table, you want to hold it very flat, a little angle like that, right? So you're pushing the bristles down, you're getting the paint kind of wedged in between all the little fingers. Just imagine them like that, right? Now let's say we've got this lighter color and I don't know, what about right, ooh, not right in the middle. Let's go right here. Bang, just pop it in. Okay, what we want to do is make like a little, remember that video game Galaga? Right, where you had like all the little bugs would start dropping down and you had your little spaceship that you would go back and forth and be like, pew, 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 pew. Right? It looked just like this guy. It's like a little spaceship and you had your little pew-pews on the side, right? And then the little point of the cockpit right here, right? You guys remember that game? Does anyone know what I'm talking about right now? Just yes or no. Do you remember Galaga from, the arcade back in the day, right? Because that's all we're doing. We're just making little Galagas or little pyramids of trees, right? And each one of these taps is like 10 or 20 trees at once. You know what I mean? You're not painting just one single tree. And so don't think about it like each one of these has to be this perfect one single thing. They are an entire forest very far away, okay? So they're condensed together. And does anybody know Galaga, right? Okay, cool. We got some Galaga fans out there. You played the little game where the little aliens would come down, little bugs, and be like, pew, 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 pew. And if they got down too far, right, they would eat your ship, and then you would lose the game. But that's pretty much it. You're just making a weird, almost like an EKG, little heart monitor, something, a little boop, boop, wherever you want. Seriously, just don't make them all the same. If they're all the same height or, all the same shape, then they end up looking weird. And the only thing you really want to do is just fill in the base. Right? We're filling in the base. I don't even care if it goes all the way over there. We're going to come in from a different angle with a new set of forest, right? Now, how do you make that misty bit at the bottom? Well, you're just going to have to sit through this quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Oh, when it's like, we'll be right back after these words. Holy cow, did you see with all of our new setup and all of our new equipment that we can actually see I'm talking about all of your comments. So not a single comment will get missed, nothing gets lost. I can see them on the television. And London right back here is checking everything out on the computer. So comment, comment, comment. It helps much more than you might think and helps boost engagement and gets us out to more people. So let's get back to the show and see what we got going on up there. Hey guys. Okay. So we're right back into making our forest after our quick little commercial break, right? And all we need to do is hold our brush very vertically and start dragging upwards, pulling away before you get to the very top. Because you'll notice the harder you push in, the more little streaks will pop off the top of your trees, right? They end up looking like tree trunks that are very sharp, that don't have any leaves on them, which happens out there, right? And it makes your forest look more depthy, like there's more than we painted right here, right? So we're going to come in here to make the mist. We're going to tap at a downward angle, 45-degree down, right? So we're just hitting the top corner. The whole bottom corner is not touching the canvas, okay? We'll go next to it. We'll tap in and tap it down a little bit. Next to it, but not the same height, right? If we make this all one flat level all the way across, it's going to look like Buckingham Palace. What was that garden again, London? I always forget it. Kensington Gardens or Hampton? Yeah, I always said, I remember mentioning Buckingham Palace and how like manicured that place must be. I've never seen it, but I'm just imagining, right? And then you said there was some other like royal garden that was more prim and proper than that. Hampton Court Palace. for all the UKers, I've got a UKer behind the computer over here. London, London, London. Say hi to London, everybody. Everybody loves London. Okay, so once we've tapped in and we've gone down, we've made our little same kind of thing, little EKG across the whole thing, so it's not just this flat level, right? Then you're going to swipe up from the bottom. That kind of transitions the last little bit. Okay, boom, don't touch it anymore. Now we can come in with a new set of forest or put in a bigger tree or a closer thing or whatever we want to do. That's the fun part about Paint with Josh, right? Even I don't know what it's going to look like by the time we get done. I've painted 2,293. This is the third one, 93 paintings, right? So 2,293 paintings. So I've done trees. I've done mountains, I've done forest, I've done rivers, I've done snow, I've done rocks, I've done everything, I've done volcanoes, I've done water spout, like water tornadoes, okay? I've done real tornadoes. I've done everything that you've thought of. I've already tried, okay? I've done it before. So I can kind of go back in my memory box, the vault back here, and go, if I want to do these trees, I know what brush I need to do, how much I need to tap, what I need, the steps needed to do it, right? So you can then, once you figure out all the different kinds of shapes you can make with each brush, then you can figure out and just pull from memory and go, you know what, I want to see one of those trees in this painting right here. Or I want to put this kind of a bush over here or whatever, right? But you got to get out there and do it first in order for it to come naturally in your brain. And so you don't get to that point and you go, okay, what do I do next, right? I can already see the finished painting, because I know I can put something big over here, I could put something back here, I could literally go smaller and get bigger this way and then put something big. I could put a couple trees here, we could do a fence, we could do a big tree here, we could do like a bushel of stuff. You could do all these things and you can change at the drop of a hat. You know what I mean? You don't have to just go, all right, I'm gonna follow along with Josh, and then I get to a portion of the painting that you didn't really like or you don't think is going to look good if you do it. You don't have to do that, right? But I'm just showing you through all these paintings, all the different things we can do. Oh, Josh got the big old bush brush out. I don't think we're going to use it yet, though. Okay, what we did was we mixed up a little bit more of our plaque mix. We added a little bit of white to it so that it is not the pure darkness, but it is also slightly darker than the color that's back there. That way, I can come in here, wiggle down, and put something else closer in front of said thing in the background, right? So what if we go right there, just above, just below, right? Now, what about this tree makes him look closer than those trees in the background, right? I mean, you could say the color, but it's not that much different. So it's not the color. What about this tree makes him look closer than those other trees, right? You tell me right now. What do you think? Just type it in. There's no wrong answers, right? No one's going to make fun of you for saying something incorrect. Like, what do you think, right? And we can make them grow down as far as we want. We can do literally whatever, right? It sits lower on the painting, Josh T. Oh, Josh T's back. Wasn't Josh T the one that said pwj.info is pasty white Josh? Josh T, we've been waiting for you to come back. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. It sits lower, right? We can't really see the butts of those trees. Yeah, Josh T, you can actually now go to pastywhitejosh.com and it will actually work. Like and it'll take you over to paintwithjosh.com. After you said that, London like instantly bought that site, and so now we own it. So if the trees, right, we can't really see the bottom of these guys. We can right here, right? It doesn't necessarily even have to be taller than the background in order for it to stand out in the foreground. We can take the bottom on the right and pull it down just a little bit. I would rather have the color go straight down, right, than pull too far out this way. Once you've pulled it down, there's less color there to extend onto the bright side. You don't want to have this much darkness on your bright side of your tree, right? You want all that shadow to be on the back side and the front side being brighter. So if anything, right, by the time that we got in there and we're like, okay, that's what I want it to look like, you take your white snow and put that on this side. Slide it out this way. Blend it back into the tree and pull away. As soon as you get to the tree, bang, pull away, and it'll like sweep the snow right up into the thing and just look fantastic. Remember, we don't need so much snow back here. I might have put on a bit too much because I know I'm going to plop in something else very dark right here. And that very dark is going to have to interact with all this bright. And so if it's very heavy, that's going to make it harder for me to do my job and keep my darkness dark later. Remember that. Okay, now we're going to load up a little bit more. Actually, let's recreate that color. That same, because I didn't make enough. I never do. I never seem to make up enough of that color. So we'll take our original plaque mix again, mix a little bit of white into it so it becomes this kind of darker, well, it's a lighter gray, but it's still a very dark color, okay? We're not trying to go like bright snowy color. We need this darkness, right? In order for your highlights to stand out, you have to have the dark. What if we had a little baby tree right here? Ooh, he's cute. Just a little old guy. Right there. Boom, boom, boom. Tapping in, pushing in harder, and then starting to bounce right to left. Bang. So it gets a little bit bigger as it starts going down, right? Oh, I love these brushes. This same brush, I was pushing it the same way. One made an upward, one made a downward sagging tree, right? They don't all have to look the same. You can do whatever you want to do out there. That's the funnest part about it, you guys. Seriously. Remember, in the front, that front corner, pull it down first. That way you can mix away most of that darkness and not have it make your snow too dark. And then again, make sure we're pulling it out this way. We're going to take off the back edge, slide him back this way. This guy's a little bit lower, so even though he's not as big, we can tell he's just a slight bit closer because of where he sits in the painting, okay? Now, maybe we get a little bit taller than our background forest. Drag down right next to our little friend, right? The trunk is on its furthest reaching branch. You do not want the trunk over here to where the branches have to reach out and poke each other. You don't want that. You want them to interblend, right? Everything out there grows so closely together because it's all fighting for the same water. Like this big tree does not care if this little tree survives or not. It doesn't. It's going to take as much of the water as it wants, and that little tree is going to have to figure out living on the amount of water that it's getting, you know. It's so they're not fair out there. They don't all have to be the same. They don't share, right? It's all whatever we want it to be. Literally, that's the fun part about doing it, you guys. You can do, honestly, whatever you want. You feel like having a small one, a big one, 3 more little small, put them in there. You know what I mean? Whatever you feel like. Honestly, it's up to you. You are in control of this whole thing, right? You're telling me when you're painting your painting, you're telling all of us what it's supposed to look like. Just like I'm telling you guys that this one is looking like this because that's how it's coming out this time, right? See, we're not trying to make the white snow the same amount of white right there. You got to have a slight difference, right? Can't be exactly the same. There, just a little touch. For whatever reason, that area is very heavy still. I'm going to go over him a couple more times. There, pull him out, slide him back in. There, see what I mean? It's kind of bright, and then you get that extra bright, which starts to blend into something darker, right? Which is why we have those colors at the base already. Oh, isn't that cool? Now, if you leave a bit of white, and then you got a bit of shadow, and then you pop in another little bit of white, tell me that doesn't look like a little wavy hill over there. What's up? What's the question? Do you use anything to seal your painting? So you can, right? When I very first started, I used Gamblin Gamvar gloss. They have it in gloss, satin, and matte finish. It's called Gamblin. The Gamblin is the brand, right? Gamblin 1980, and then Gamvar, and then I got the gloss when I did mine. So that's what I was using initially, right? I have a video on my tube in the how-to playlist. Yes, I have playlists for everything. So there's a how-to playlist, like how to make the big moons that we make, how to put your liquid white on, how to put liquid clear on, how to do just mountains, how to you know, clean your brushes, how to do everything. Everything I could think of anyway. So there is a video on how to seal your painting with that gloss. The longer that I painted and the better that I got at spreading out the colors and everything else, a lot of the paintings don't need a varnish, not mine anyway. They dry perfectly. There's no, like some of them, sure, you'll have like a canvas that'll dry and you'll have like a spot that dried faster than everything else and you can notice it, right? Ask any one of the people that have ever purchased any of the 2,000 paintings that we've sold and ask them if anything was wrong with their painting, right? If anything has changed over the time, because the way that we paint and spread them out, I don't feel like I need a varnish on mine. And that's just me, right? You guys can do it however you want, but in my mind, I feel like I don't need it. So we don't put it on. But if you did, use that Gamblin' Gambar, either the satin or the gloss or the, is that the school again? Of course. They've called like 4 times. Okay, so why don't we get over here? Once you start flattening out your pile too much, you realize that there's not enough paint there, right? Like this will not make anything bigger than that small tree right there, even with a whole brush full of color, because there's no paint left in my pile anymore. So we need to mix up some more paint. But let's do, almost trying, we need one or 2 more trees over here. So why don't we do a little small guy? We'll go back in here. I don't want them to be the same height, so we'll go a little taller. Pop them in there, and we'll see if I can get away with just the amount of paint that's on my brush. Right, now remember, you want it to be thick and chunky when you're doing these trees, right? So if you're pushing it on there and it's not sticking to the canvas and leaving that texture, then you don't have enough paint on the brush, okay? I'm telling you, like now, I cannot do this last tree on the end because we don't have enough paint. Even there is not enough, right? So let's mix up a little bit more of our Paint with Josh plaque, and then we'll take a quick commercial break, right? And then when we come back, we'll pop in this last tree. Then we'll do our big kind of bushy foreground thing that's going to happen on this side. And I'm thinking we might put a fence in across this whole thing, at least about half our canvas. We might have a little fence in there. It's possible. We can figure it out by the time we get there. So I'm going to mix up this plaque. You guys hang out for this quick little Paint with Josh commercial in this live show. What time is it? 5:28 Pacific Standard Time on February 19th. And it's 63 degrees in my studio, in case you wondered what clock I was looking at. So we'll see you guys in about 30 seconds right after these words. Hey guys, it's Paint with Josh back in the studio with you today, taking a break from editing to talk about our Glitterwix candles. Absolutely fantastic, super unique jars, more than 65 different scents that you can find if you head over to their site. Check it out, get your favorite, let us know which one you got when you come back, and let's pop over to the show and see what we've been missing while we've been gone. You guys get over there and get those candles. I'm telling you, I just ordered 6 the other day. Literally. I get to pick mine up in the store. But Lena does ship out across the U.S. So get your Glitterwix and then come back and tell us which one you got. Seriously. Let's go over here. Again, I don't want to make it the same size. I don't necessarily need to make it taller. So why don't we go slightly lower, right? And just have that weird, kind of just like a heartbeat monitor, just like our trees are in the background, right? Not every tree is growing at the same speed or at the same, you know, amount of branches or thickness or whatever. It just doesn't happen like that. So make them different. Make them odd shaped and weird sized, and make them crisscross by the time they get down here. So you can't really tell which tree or which part of the bottom belongs to which tree, right? They're kind of just gunked up down here. We just really can't tell right in the middle how far one or the other goes. That's how I like to have them anyway. Now remember, what do we do on the front corner of these trees? Do we just take all that dark paint and slide it out? Or what have I been telling you? No, I know that's a little branch, but he's, no, it gives him character. It gives him character. And what do we do right here? Do we just take all this paint and slide it outwards and drag all that darkness into our bright side where all of our light is coming from? Because I told you twice already how we did it on these. So if you were paying attention, then you'll be able to let me know. Thank you, my little ladies. Said pull down a little bit first, right? Get that color to blend down, almost like we were making a reflection first, okay? Because then you can blend this away, and look, boom, all of a sudden it's gone. I don't even need to add snow if I wanted to, right? I'm come in here, take my white, and go, shoo, add a new little bit, right? The more we blend this guy out, Mix it in with our little snowy path. Again, that angle has to change, right? We're going down and then we're flattening off. So then when we're pulling back at the straight angle here, and then pulling straight, and then straight, and then straight, right? You're only really because if we go down like this, it's gonna make this guy look like he's a severely steep angle. You know what I mean? And I don't want that. It's gotta flatten out. It has to. The land does not just go down into this ravine all the time. It's gotta be sort of flat. And so what we're doing is we're kind of pulling down, flattening off, and then sometimes pulling up the other edge. You have to do this with your brush. It will not do it on its own. So back to this little guy. Let's pull down some of this dark paint again, just so it doesn't pull out as far, right? Now I can grip it and let it mix with that liquid white and our titanium white snow and all those colors underneath, right? And then decide, what does it look like? See this little patch right here? What if I drag from the back and slide just like a sequin pillow? You know, you can like slide it to one and it's one color. You can slide those little beads back or little scales, whatever they are, right? Paint is the same way. It will slide and move on this canvas, okay? So you get to decide the angles. Angles are everything, man. Literally everything. See? Now you got this weird thing right there, which makes it look like a shadow. And then you can play off that and go, you know what? That looks frickin' cool. What if I went like this and popped in a new little bit of bright snow, right? And then we popped it down here. And again, we're just making it up as we go. Right? Look how flat these ones are, though. Very flat. Coming down from the edge, flattening off. Oh, yeah. Right? Now, that little bit of darkness, we go over that guy with some more paint. Take it away. Right? Boom. We'd have a finished painting right there. Literally, like a little snowy meadow. However you want it to look. Completely up to you. But just remember those angles, right? Down, flat, down, flat. We're just making bigger smiley faces, basically. Small little smiley face, a little bit bigger, a lot bigger. You know what I mean? See how I grab that paint? Let's slide it back, just like a sequin pillow. Don't freak out. Just slide it backwards. Push it back up onto that little guy. Now, okay, let's get our big old bushy brush. Now that we're up here into the foreground, we're going to mix up a little bit more plaque into our current, I guess we would call that grack. It's like a grayish black, right? I mean, if we're sticking with like the ack motif, the grack. No, grack is greenish black. So we can't call it grack. Guys, we got to come up with a name for the lighter version of plaque, right? And what do you guys think? Maybe you guys can help me, because that's how we came up with plaque. Was the the audience came up with that title. Now, what we're gonna do, because it's a purplish black, right? We're mixing blue and crimson together, which make purple, and then we're adding black to make plaque. Okay. If we use this mix and add green, we make grack. If we use brown, we're making brack. So we need another name for the lighter gray color. Because we're adding white, we can call it whack. Dude, we can call it whack. That's funny. Yeah, like that's whack. Like from the 90s. That's so whack, bro. Because it's whitish plaque. So it's whack. It's whack. Dude, that's it. Never mind, guys. I don't need you anymore. I came up with it. Okay, so we're going to take our bushy brush. We're going to angle it away from us, right, into our plaque mix. No more whack. Just the... Eventually, no one will be able to understand what we're talking about unless you've watched for like years. You won't be able to understand the lingo. So now we're going to come over here. We need to get a little taller than our trees. Oh, don't hate me, guys. We're going to get up into there. Oh, it's nasty, right? Make sure it's popping out. It's filling up. Ooh. It's gross. And then it's got to come back in. And it's got to get down here. And then we're going to pop out. Right? Boom. Up into there. Filling it all in. Downward angle. Smush, smush, smush. Shmush. Fill it in. Oh, the darkness. It pushes back everything into the distance. Right? Makes everything look further away than this now. Because this is the deepest, darkest, nastiest looking thing in the painting so far. Right? Closest, tallest, furthest down, right? And again, anytime you're doing downward angle like this, make that same angle on the bottom. We're going to take away the majority of that paint down there, so don't even worry about what it looks like, right? But if you got an angle coming down, gotta have an angle on it, just like a greater than, less than symbol, right? Isn't there a better word for that? What is this? You guys know this symbol, right? If it's on this side, then it's less than. If it's on, how am I going to do this? It's greater than. What's that thing called? Because I've always just called it a greater than, less than symbol. How many syllables can we do? Right? Like, what is that? I know there's got to be a word for it. Really? Like, somebody Google it. What is the word for the greater than, less than symbol? Because I've been calling it that since I was in like 3rd grade. So, what do you guys... No, a right angle is this. That's straight up like a side of a box. That's a right angle, right? What is it? A caret? Like, hey, what's up, Doc? It's a left carrot and a right carrot, but not spelled like I almost just called it carrot of fruit. Is carrot a fruit? No. I was going to let the audience answer, London, for engagement. Because I want the audience to comment. Okay, so once we put in our deep darkness, right? Remember, all of our light is over here. It doesn't necessarily have to come from, back here where our yellow is. It could be way off screen over there, pulling and taking all of our shadows this way. Now, what we're going to do is start at the top, not very top, but up here, right? We're going to pull out. We're going to go 1 step down and 1 step back, right? Same equal space, right? Down and back. Pull out this side. We'll go down and back again. Same thing, right? So we're getting lower and further from the center of the canvas, creating this downward angle. You guys see that? That is hard for people to do because you don't put enough paint down there first, right? You didn't have enough paint there. And so what happens is you start pulling, and then you want to start pulling higher and higher and higher up because you didn't put enough paint down there. Put the paint down there, take steps, right? Little step. Then we back up, go down the next step, literally going in and down and pull. And you want to watch this. You could take that guy even further, right? Way up there, and then have one lower. So now we have here, here, there, and then there, and then there. And it just makes it look more natural. You know what I mean? None of these things are being trimmed. There's nobody out there maintaining our trees that we're painting, right? We paint wilderness. So I don't like a maintained tree. I don't want something that's been, I want something wild. And so it's got to be nasty and weird looking and growing just crazily. You know what I mean? That's when it gets fun. Now, we're going to need clean brushes in order to highlight all of these things. We might put our fence against this little guy right here. Oh, dude, doesn't it look like you could just take like a snowmobile and just go? You guys, have I ever showed? It's been a long time since I've showed you guys how to make tire tracks. You want to see how to make tire tracks? You guys want to see how to make tire tracks? You got to say yes or no though, because otherwise. No, not you, London. Okay. The audience. We should have probably tried to do it before we had this thing right here, if we were going to do it, right? But they went out there and then the guy got picked up by an alien. There's actually a story about that. A person went missing, and when they went out to search for them, they found their footprint. They found all their gear on the side of the lake, and they found their footprints that walked out into the center of the lake and just disappeared. Like he got picked up. There was no hole in the ice. He didn't fall in. He wasn't attacked by the foot. Just stopped, and just all of it gone. And he just never to be found again. So we've wiped off all the plaque off of our brush. You can still see the brush is very dark in color, so there's still color on there. We're going to use a very fine bit of pressure, right? And then curl it. Right? It's got a curl. Now they have to be very skinny when they're up here, and then they get fatter as they get closer to you, right? And having the right angle is absolutely vital. You have to have the right angle. Very much like that, right? If you did something like that, and then you softened them by dragging the snow over it a little bit, just making it a little harder to see than it actually was, then it's a very faint indication of humanity was there at some point. There's tire tracks, you know what I mean? I've always found that stuff like that, or an old cabin or an old fence or something, gives us, it like makes people resonate with it more, because they go, okay, like I'm not the first human to ever be here. So you get some sort of like peace out of knowing that you're not the first person that's ever been in that spot, right? So you're like, oh, cool. There's an old fence here. That must mean that there's something nearby. And if I'm out there lost in the woods and I find something of humanity, I'm getting an uplift in my spirits, right? So I think it transfers like that in the paintings as well. Like literally, some of the times we'll take a little bit of our titanium white, and let's just say, put Mom in this one right here, right? A little, oh, that's just fantastic. Just the smallest bit, little bit of paint, lots of pressure, and then just swipe over it like once or twice. Seriously, you get a little contrail out there. And that is enough humanity to see, for someone to see it and go, oh man, I've literally been standing in a place just like that and looked up and saw an airplane. Because they're all over the place, you guys, seriously. What's up? Oh, thank you for the stars. I appreciate it. This is Sherry. I appreciate you. You're so talented. Thank you. I appreciate it. We still have time to mess this one up. There's still time, but I think it's going to come out really good. So we're going to wash off our brushes, right? Then we're going to take just a couple minute early quick commercial break so I can wash off these brushes and stuff. And then we'll get all of our highlights together, put them onto the trees, and then decide maybe we'll throw a little fence in there. We'll see if we've got enough time, right? So you guys hang out for like 30 seconds, check out this quick little commercial break, and I'm gonna go finish washing these brushes, and we'll see you right after these words. Have you watched like 1,000 Paint with Josh videos and you just can't seem to get it right? Let's do a virtual class where I can show you how to use the brush, show you how to contact the canvas, pick up the camera, and show you angles you've never seen before in a Paint with Josh video. So check out the site, scroll down a little bit, see the calendar, book your day and your time, pick a virtual class, and then we'll meet up via video call. I'll email you and everything's gonna be fantastic. So let's get back to the show and see what we've been up to while we've been gone. Yes, what's happening out there? Remember, it's been a minute, so I'm going to ask you to check in and let us know where you're watching from. Out there, around the country, around the world. Let us know where we have Paint with Josh followers from. That's where I want to know. Now, we're going to take a smaller fan brush. I like to use a smaller brush, and here's the reason why. You want to know why? Because we're going to make a mistake. We're humans, right? We're going to make a mistake. We're going to push too hard. Something is going to be too big. We're going to have too much of a glob on there, right? Like it's going to happen. And so if we use a smaller brush than what we use to actually create the shape of the tree, then our mistake will be more manageable, right? Like it's inevitable. We're going to make a mistake. It's like Thanos. Like it's just inevitable. We're going to make a mistake. And so if we're using a smaller brush, we're going to make a smaller mistake. Something that's more manageable. We can fix easier. If we're using the same size brush, then our mistake is going to be the same size as the entire tree, which is not something that you want. So I'm going to take a little of my liquid white on the end of my small fan brush. This is one of the GAC Doctor fan brushes, and this is the size 2. I think they go from 14 down to 2, so this might be the smallest one that comes in the kit. These are really cool fan brushes. I like them. You can really beat them up. And they're cheap. They're like $10 for like 7 of them in the pack, right? So you can just beat them up and go get some more. So we're going to, since all of our light is off the side, we're going to be tapping very lightly off the left side of the tree, 45-degree downward angle of the bristles, handle on the side like this, and then we're holding it like a chopstick and just slapping at the tree. And each time we do it, we're going to move the brush so we don't come and smack the same spot on that tree, right? So you kind of start bouncing around. Even a couple little spaces of blue, right? Not every bit of dark tree branch back there has to be covered with blue, okay? You want to leave, we're gonna do fractions right here, okay? So I remember my dad and I had such a hard time with fractions growing up. So if we consider our tree 100% of the darkness, okay? We're working on half of 100%, so that's 50%, okay, of our tree, and we're only covering that 50%, okay, so we're down to a quarter now. We're only putting on 1/4 of the tree should be blue, okay? Half of the tree should remain dark, and the other quarter should be our bright white snow, okay? So you do not want to put on too much blue. If you are putting on so much blue that you can no longer see any dark black, blackish, whackish paint, then you've put on too much blue, right? Little bits, little taps, little splotches, okay? Little things. Because when we go back over it with our white on the opposite side, and it's almost like if you line them up like Christmas lights, imagine like a string of lights around the whole thing, okay? We're going to connect the blue and the white Christmas lights right in the center of the tree. But if you imagine them like that, it's going to be easier to lay them down that way, okay? Now, I need to get a little bit more of my liquid white out of my jar because we seem to have not any left over here in the Petri dish. So you guys check in. I'm actually going to look at the screen, I swear. I'm going to look right now. This is a live tutorial. We do literally everything live, you guys. Even the tutorials that I put out, like the edited ones that are all zoomed in and stuff, it's just the live show. All I did was zoom it in for you so you could see a little bit better. Now, I'm going to take my liquid white back onto my little miniature fan brush, right? Compared to the size that I made it. So if you only made it with a small brush, you better find a smaller brush to make the highlights with. Because inevitably, we're going to make something that's too big, right? Something like even like this. One little splotch of blue right there. There's just one splotch too much for me, which means I need to pop in there, right there. Just kind of help it fade up that way. And maybe one underneath it, just so it's not there, just so it's not sticking out, right? But it's all up to me. I'm choosing as I go on the fly, going, you know what, that's enough. And then if you hit it one too many times, you're like, oh, damn it. I didn't want to touch it right there, but now it's there, right? Because we're human, we're gonna make a mistake. So use a smaller brush, make a smaller mistake, and then you might not even notice it, literally. Tap these little suckers in like that, boom, 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 right? Again, they're wrapping around. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down, right? We're just we're going 1, boom, boom, tap, 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 layering them in a diagonal pattern. And this is why, because when we come back to hit them with the white, we're gonna take our liquid white and dip it in like 1/8 of an inch, teeniest, tiniest amount you can get, because you can always go back and get more. You don't want to have too much. Okay, now the more that you mix it with this liquid, with the titanium white, we're mixing both of them together because you cannot use one or the other. They don't work. One is too thin, one is much too thick, right? So tapping on, sometimes I'm doing this and not even hitting the canvas sometimes because I'm trying to tap it so stinking lightly that if I touch it too much, I know I'm going to leave a big old splotch on there. Now look at that for a little tree, okay? This spot in the middle might be a little bit too bright, but beyond that, right, you get that white over 1/4, right? So you got 1/4 of white and 1/4 of black on one half of the tree, and then you got 1/4 of blue and 1/4 of that same black on the other side of the tree. So half of the tree is still showing through with darkness, right? All those little bits, all those pockets in between the white and the black should still be showing. And if they're not, you've covered up too stinking much. You know what I mean? And it's possible with one tap to cover up too much. So go slow, tap it lightly, right? And then go back and get more paint. Don't try to just force it, right? See how we're lining those up though? We go 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2 in the white. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 in the white. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. And can you, do you see? Look at how easy that is, guys. You're just smacking the canvas. Like if you were playing with your food. If you let's say you don't like it. Okay, let me ask you a question. If you like sushi, type in the word yes. If you don't like sushi, type in the word no. Okay? Type it out right now. I want to see. I want to see how many non-sushi lovers we have. It's not about the ones that like the sushi, about the ones that don't. So that's what we're going to liken in this next thing, right? We got yes, yes, yes. No, says Butterfly. No, says John. All you guys that are saying no, go with someone who knows what to order, and you'll like it, I swear. But imagine, like these people that are saying, no, I don't like going to sushi. So imagine, I don't know, it's a special occasion. You got to go to the sushi restaurant, right? And you're sitting there looking at your food going, oh, I don't want to eat this. And you're just like sitting there playing with it, like slapping it with your, with your chopstick, right? You're like, ugh, I'm not going to put this in my mouth. I'm just going to sit here and play with it, like tap at it. You know what I mean? That's all we're doing to these trees. We're just tapping at these trees, playing with our food, going, you know what? I don't want to eat this, but I'm going to sit here and just pretend. You know what I mean? And throw a couple little taps at it. Look at those trees, you guys. I'm telling you. It's so funny. London, when London and I first got together, she was like, oh, do you like sushi? And I was like, yeah, I like sushi. Not knowing that, like, London actually liked sushi, and I liked, you know, California rolls and like spicy crab rolls and like a spider roll was like the craziest I would get into, right? Very soon found out that all the things that looked strange actually taste really good. And so Go with someone who's gone before, and it'll change your thought about sushi. It's really good. And don't have the salmon. That's the one thing I've always tried. London's always never. Why have you never had it? Because I've always had that stuck in my head. Like
I've had sushi salmon before. The last time I had it made me sick, and I just stay away from it.
okay, it doesn't. I mean, it looks pretty, like the color, the orange. It's nice, but it doesn't. It seems like it would be fishy to me, and I don't want anything that's fishy. You know what I mean?
Salmon.
So yeah, and London loves to have salmon, like a fillet or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they prepare, you get the big old salmon fillet. She eats that all day, but doesn't have salmon sushi. So I'm like, you know what? Okay, I'm not ever having salmon sushi then, because the person that loves to eat salmon doesn't want to eat this salmon. And I'm like, all right, that tells me that I'm not going to eat that salmon either. Okay, so there are plenty of sushi rolls that are cooked. They deep fry a bunch of them. You can get deep fried crab inside of the wrap, and it's just a little bit of rice. It's like sticky rice, one little piece of seaweed. Like, don't even worry about it. You don't even taste it. It tastes like nothing, literally. And then you got your interior bits, right? Like the good stuff is on the, it's like kind of like stuffing a turkey, right? Like it's having a turducken. You got like the turkey on the outside, like the rice and stuff, and then you got the chicken and then the duck inside, right? It's really good, I'm telling you. Try one of the deep fried rolls, or even just a piece of the fish. And I was on your team. I was there. I was with you. Like, ugh, I'm not eating uncooked fish. That sounds disgusting. First, it sounds like I'm gonna get sick. It doesn't sound like it's going to taste good at all. It's going to be like cold and slimy and delicious, which is exactly what it is, right? Cold and slimy and delicious. And like some of them come out, what was that one? Like you can get some with, even like a piece of tuna with like that fucking sriracha sauce on the top, and then like one of those little super jalapenos. They're like miniature, what they call them? Serrano peppers. Blow your face off, and they're delicious. It's cold and slimy, but it's so good too. It's so good. Oh, crab rangoon, dude. That's what I want. If someone was like, okay, last meal, what do you have? 37 orders of crab rangoon, and they usually come with like 8 per order. So yes, that many. Give them to me, because that stuff is delicious. Okay, we're going to take our ultramarine blue and our liquid white. Remember, all of our light is coming from this side, so we can tap on very lightly, remember. And if we have the right ratio, and I can already start to see that I'm going to need to tap hard. See how I'm tapping right here? Nothing's coming off. But if I tap into it, then it comes off, right? I've now just pushed too hard. I've dropped off too much, right? And you're going to drop off too much. So once you start noticing that you're no longer dropping the color off with that lightest touch, go back and get more paint. Dip into that crazy chunky paint, okay? Because you need all that stuff. Gotta have half of that texture is in the color, okay? The other half is the liquid white. You can't just have liquid white, and you can't just have the blue up there. You gotta have a little bit of both, right? And so, same thing goes for the titanium white on the other side. You can't just use titanium white. You have to have that liquid white in there with it. So we'll wash our brush out. Remember, guys, this one is available. You can grab it. Head over there. I think I'm only going to do the one show tonight. I am so tired. It's not even funny. Literally, I was napping before the show, and I don't think that I can do another one. Even if this one's sold during the show, I don't think I can come back and do another one. I'm going to go take Bailey to have some Taco Bell and then just hit that couch. That's going to be my... Yeah, right. That's true. Oh, no. Oh, no, you guys. Oh, the Paint with Josh liner brush. I think I left it not fully separated. Oh, I think I might have got it, though. I think all is well. See, that's the Paint with Josh brushes for you. I just went to load it with paint, and it was hard. You know what I mean? It was like stiff, and I was like, oh, shoot. That's not going to work. All right, but we soaked it, kind of dunked it into our odorless mineral spirits, and then kind of massaged the roughness out of that. Now it's nice and soft again. That's why I love those Paint with Josh brushes. Seriously. Like, it happens with the 1-inch brush, too. Oh yes, perfect example. Look at this, right? Hear that? But if I push it hard enough and really bend the, now it's nice and soft again, right? The amazing Paint with Josh brushes, you guys. Seriously, look at that. Gorgeous. God, a bunch of the other ones stuck too. Oh yeah. Because that thinner gets in there, right? And it'll stick them bristles together. And normally on a hog hair brush, that's going to ruin your brush, right? But when you got that Paint with Josh brush, you can just bounce it onto the table and it comes right back to life. Now we're going to take our liquid white on our liner brush. We're going to come up through here and just make a weird little tree trunk. A couple branches coming off of him, whatever. Doesn't even have to be, you know, all the way from the bottom. It doesn't have to connect. It doesn't have to fill. We literally have to do nothing. That's the best part. You don't even need to do it because we're about to cover the majority of it, right? So we'll take our liquid white and our titanium white, start popping off of this guy, leaving some of those little trunks kind of uncovered. We don't want to cover everything. Pop a couple little bits onto the side over here. Right, now our main goal is to make sure we have the right liquiditicity of the paint, right? So the right ratio of the liquid white to the titanium white so that it will come off and leave cool little bits, right? Catching some light here, some there, maybe light down here. Maybe we got one little bit trying to catch some light on the backside over here. You know what I mean? You never know, guys, until you do it. So get out there and try something and then let me know how it goes. You know what I mean? Right there. Don't want to put in too many bits of bright, right? Can't cover the whole thing. At least half of that dark mass has to be black still in order for it to look close enough, right? If we put on too many highlights, we're going to make it look flat. So, yeah, you got to start coming up with a title for this one. Let me know what you might want to call a painting like this, right? Let us know in the comments. And I'm thinking we may add a little fence, just because we're only going to do one show tonight anyway. I might let it run a little long for you, and we could put a little fence in there, I would imagine. Right? All up to us. I can't believe I just cleaned out this brush. Now I got to get it dirty again. Oh, right there. Yes, just the smallest bit, right? You have to have some of that darkness on the back, at least some of our blue and the black back there. Bing, bang, boom. Guys, as well, I got some acrylic paints. I have been getting so many people asking me how to do this in acrylic, how to do that, how to do that. And so I'm going to mess around with those, and I'm going to teach myself how to teach you how to do the same thing in acrylic. So if you use acrylic and you're like, oh, I wish Josh would just do one in acrylic every once in a while, we're going to do that every so often. And be like, paint by Felix, who? And that guy's got like 3 million YouTube subscribers. He is an amazing artist. And works all in acrylic and stuff. And so move over, paint with Josh. Might be dabbling in some acrylics, guys. I know. I just want to see what they're like. I got like this heavy sculpting paste that is supposed to make it like break like oils. You know what I mean? And so if we kind of add this paste in there and, you know, try to figure out what we need to do in order to make the oils act exactly like I can get these paints to act. And if I can't, then I'm not going to paint in acrylics, right? Because this is my style. This is how we do stuff. And if I can't get something to work the way that I normally do it, you know what I mean? And it's just too different, then there's no use in doing it. We do a lot of acrylic underpaintings and stuff. And so, and I've been getting, I literally get the question 20 times a day on Facebook on all the different reels, like, oh, how do you do this in acrylic? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't teach acrylic. So I'm going to have to teach myself and then teach all you guys how to do it for all you. Maybe we'll do a little bit of both too. Some oils over acrylics. This is what we like to do anyway. So let's take our little bushy brush. Actually, I'm going to switch to the oval brush. Get that Bob Ross oval brush. I'm going to go back into my plaque mix. And now that I know what my kind of outline looks like for my little pathway or whatever, I could say maybe, just maybe back in here, we can tap in a couple little guys that kind of grow down. Make them a weird shape, not just one straight line, right? We kind of went out and then I started back from the same spot and kind of went down, almost like a fan, right? What's up? Hey, thanks for the super over there, Ryan. Ryan Danroth, appreciate you over there, my guy. Love you guys. What was that for anyway? Did you say something? Last snow of the season. That is a cool title. That is, this totally reminds me of like warm winter, like spring is coming. It's on the horizon. Okay, let's take our 1 inch or your big old 2-inch brush. If you're like Paint with Josh, you can use your big old 2-inch brush. I'm kind of grip some of it right above this pot, so we can take this guy and have him be like a little indent. You know what I mean? They don't all have to just get straight off at the bottom. You can even take that guy and climb up. You know what I mean? And have him look like he's trying to reach out and grow over to this way. And then you go, you know what? That looks so stinking cool. What if we had some over here? Maybe they're a little bit more paint, a little bigger, a little thicker, a little darker, right? A little crazier. And then we can decide, I still got some paint over here. Why not? I'll just pop this old doer back in here. Now you got this whole big old thing down here, right? Adding more depth, more dimension from nothing. Literally, we did nothing. We added a smush, added a bit of stuff. This is why everyone goes, oh my God, Josh makes it look so easy. That's because like I'm not thinking of it like the best painting. Like I never go into a painting and go, I'm about to paint the best painting I've ever painted, right? I go into every painting and go, I wonder what this one's going to look like. Because, you know, it should look a little different than the last one or whatever. You know what I mean? I wonder what I can do to make it look this way or like that. Or maybe I have an idea. Or maybe we'll just let it fly, honestly, a lot of times. And look at it and go, you know what? I've done those bushes in countless other paintings. And I know how to do them. And I know that they would look good right here. So let's pop them in. You know what I mean? I try to do similar enough stuff that that I'm just going to hammer it home into your brains how to do it. So that if you watch enough videos, you won't even need to listen or watch anymore, right? You could just have me on the side and go, I already know what he's doing because I've seen him do it so many times. I already know what's coming up next. I already know what to do on this guy and that guy and whatever. A little bit of blue. Remember, don't want to put on too much. Put on too much, you're going to cover up all that black. And then nothing looks cool. Remember, these have to be dark. You have to have some shadows for the little critters, like Bob would always say, right? Like if there's no place for a little squirrel to like scurry in there and hide, then he's going to get all eaten up by the predators, right? We don't want that. We don't want that little guy to get all chewed up. Right? So you got to leave little spots of dark that they can duck into, right? Little here, little there, wherever. Very light little taps, so seriously. You put on too many little taps, you're going to cover up everything, and then you lose all the depth because there's no more. See how this one looks odd? Because there's no darkness underneath it. It's just out over the snow. So if you're doing bushes out like this with no darkness underneath it, tell me which one looks better. Which one looks more realistic, right? The one with the dark. That way, you got them little spots where them critters can go hide and stuff. Slide it back up into here. Right? Just so it's weird. Perfect. I love that. Now, it almost looks like if we were to come out on the bottom right a little bit, right, then we can have a really cool looking thing. And it just gives us one more chance to do another little bush and maybe put a little stick coming out of it or something. I don't know. It's up to you guys to decide. One more thing for details you can pop in. Little bits with just the point of the blade and kind of hold it like a pencil. Get into your dark area, push in, right? Not hard because you're going to poke through, especially with the Paint with Josh palette knife. But you can scrape little things all the way down to the white canvas, right? And then you don't have any more wet paint up there. We're basically removing paint, right? It's kind of globbing up on the end of our blade right there. See that? A bit of paint out there. So we're scraping all the way down to the canvas. So all from the dark areas, and it's just basically little sticks and stems that are holding up all of our flowers, right? These things aren't just floating up in the air. They're growing from somewhere, right? We've just got to tell everybody where they're growing from. They're growing from all these little sticks down there, right? Very cool. Very cute, you guys. So remember, this one's available. You guys can head over there. You can get the Paint with Josh app or head over to the site. The mods are telling you how to get there. And you're not the only one over there. If you're looking for this painting, you are not the only one there. So grab it now before someone else does. And then they're literally going to take it away from you. And then there's only one. And once it's gone forever. So let's get our bushy brush again. I want to get a little bit of my black, crimson, and blue going. And again, in a big enough pile so that when I put it up here on the canvas, it remains chunky, right? It doesn't mean we need a whole huge thing because our little bush up here is not going to be that big. But even that pile, is about the size of a quarter and about the size of 3 or 4 quarters stacked on top of each other. I'm going to use all of that, every single bit. Try to scoop it up from this side, try to get every piece onto my brush of that whole little pile I made so that I can do this, just for this little thing that comes out down here. I just want it to be dark, right? I need it to be dark. It needs to be heavy. It needs to stand out. And if it's very heavy and very dark down here, then it stands out and looks a lot closer than if it's a light or a lighter version of that same color, right? You can pull this guy out this way. And then we'll go add a couple little bits of highlight on top of him, right? Slide that snow back and forward, just kind of blending out that darkness in there. Remember, we're in the shadows of all this stuff anyway, so don't worry about it. All right, let's get back in and see if I can do this even with a dirty brush. I've got the dark color on the top. Let's see if we can get our blue highlights onto the bottom real quick. Just a couple little bits. Remember, enough paint to make it nasty. It's gotta be, you know, sticky and goopy and heavy. And now I've got both sides of this brush I've used. I'm not going to be able to use it anymore. So let's wash it off. We'll go back, put the last of the highlights on, and then you guys come up with that title. All right, tell me what we're going to call this one. What do we call this little thing out here in the night? I saw too that, I don't know if he's here. Is Jeff's oil paintings here? He usually watches on TikTok sometimes. I saw he did a cloud staircase just recently. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I know, you know, I'm not saying that he did it because of me. I did it because of Happily Painted, and maybe he saw her video too. That video of hers has 1.7 million views. It's insane. And so I saw him doing a little cloud staircase, like Stairway to Heaven type of thing. I was like, that's cool, man. That's cool. And get a little bit of our white over here, the liquid white and the titanium white. Remember, gotta have both. Little bits. Look, we didn't even allow the 2 bits of white to touch, right? There's gaps in between. And that way, it looks like there's a little bit of distance in there. And gotta have our little darker spot, maybe a little bit of light trying to catch on the top, right? It's cute. I like it, you guys. A couple little bits over here and over there. Just differences, right? Don't try to cover everything, Josh. There we go. Always gotta have that little bit of darkness at the bottom. I'm telling you, for the shadows, man. Now remember, if you purchase this one during the show, you get to title it forever. You get to tell us what to name it, right? And if not, then I need your help in coming up with a title. I have titled way too many paintings. We're up to 2,293 paintings now. We've just done so many different titles, you know what I mean? And so eventually you run out of titles, which is why I ask you guys for the titles nowadays. A couple little shticks growing, even up and out into the snow. Again, we'll just project distance right there. A couple more guys here, a little here, watch this. Boop. Up and out the top into the snow projects distance, you guys. Oh, gorgeous. Gorgeous. Just love that. Gorgeous, excuse me. So remember, you guys go head over to the app. Check that one out. It's the Paint with Josh app, available on the Apple and the Google Play stores. Or you can go to paintwithjosh.com, and it's the very first thing you're going to see. The only thing on my store that does not have a photo is this painting, because we haven't finished it. We haven't had a chance to take a picture. All right, so if you want this painting, you're going to look for that very first thing that you see when you get to my site that doesn't have a photo. It's just a thumbnail of me inside of a gold ornate frame. All right, it says painting number 2293. That's going to be this one that you want to get. And if you get it, then it's up to you to title it, right? You can pick from either the title suggestions in the comments or come up with your own. All up to you guys. Up to you. There's people over there looking at it. You're not the only one. So if you're planning on possibly getting this one, you're going to want to do it fast. Once they go, they go. They're gone. And then I can always redo you one similar, but it'll never be this exact one. So, yeah. Let's check out the comments and see what you guys are titling this painting. Let's just have a quick look-see over here. We got The Shadow Nose. Yeah, that's a cool title. It's cool, man. Ba-boom. Looks amazing. Appreciate you. Inequality symbols. That sounds more official than a left caret or a less caret, or what the hell is it? Forget. Dusky Morning Snow, that's a cool one. Sunset Lane, that's cool as well. At Day's End. That's a wicked title. I like that for a title, dude. At Day's End. Uh-oh. More people are flooding to the site. You're not the only one. You better hurry if you really like this one. Look at that tree. Just a whole bushel of such. Almost looks like there needs to be something big right here. That's for another painting. So you guys come up with a title. And after this show, I'm going to go home and relax, dude. Get some TB and just smash it. Like, I'm going to gain 6 pounds just tonight. That's how much Taco Bell I'm going to have. So hit me with your titles. What do you think? Winter Splendor, Dog Days of Winter, excellent. Winter Green, Winter's End, Evening Glow. God damn, how many people we got watching over on Facebook? It's going as fast as TikTok over there. Sweet. Tree Eating Monster. Oh, that's strange. We only got... That's weird. And the TV went off. I think the television itself turned off versus anything else. Okay, so you guys hit me with the titles. I'm going to pop in a couple little trunks onto these guys. Just a little white dash mark every now and then. Just a, hang on. There, just a little, boop, little indication that in the middle might be the smallest little trunk in there. And then you decide where it is. Ah, it's so cool. I don't do too many. Remember. So, yeah. Let's see over here. Let's see if we got anybody. We got people on the site, but no active carts. So that means I'm going to choose a title as soon as it comes back up. It's okay. It's strange. The TV was like, you know what? I don't want to work anymore. I'm just going to turn off. Dude, that happens on my TCL at home. Does that ever happen to your guys' TV? Like, it'll work for 2 straight weeks, and then all of a sudden, now I have to literally unplug it from the wall and plug it back in order to have it work. I don't understand. Are you guys' TVs like that, or is it just me? Last snow of the season is always a good one. All the time? It's like I might as well just go up every day and unplug my TV and plug it back in. Like we never used to have to do that. Why do I have to do that all of a sudden? Let's see. Vapor Trail is cool. Spring Forward, I like that one. Spruce Dreamland. No Fence, true. Yeah, we went a different direction. I was going to try to put it along the back, and then I was like, you know what? You either have to make it really small back there or really big over here. And I was going to put it in front of this guy, but then I had the thought about putting this in and just kind of crisscrossing back and forth in between these little things. It just came out so cool. You could even fill in this gap and have it just be all those flat bushes. Got an itch in my eye, but I obviously don't want to have any paint on my finger when I go to scratch it. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. To unplug the router and wait. See, I don't do that anymore. If my TV goes, you're not connected, I look at my router and I go, it's on. The light is solid. So unplug TV, plug it back in. All of a sudden, miraculously connects. And then I can watch, my stupid cartoons. So, your Bob brush looks like a monster. It sure does. You want to see the difference between, well, I guess I'll take this one out. So we've got one that's fresh in the packaging. And then this little guy, it's much smaller than the original because the more you beat the bristles, right, and scrub it and do all this stuff, the more you kind of shape it into like an arrowhead. So it gets very sharp at the front. These guys are always poking out the sides. They give you cool little things sometimes though. But yeah, versus a brand new one, these ones are about to be changed. I use them until I can no longer use them on canvas, and then they become my like wall mural brushes because I can even scrape down. I have a wall mural brush that's probably about this big, and like all the rest of those bristles are gone from how much we scrub it against that wall. I'm about to do another wall mural in my studio. I'm going to cover this door, and we're going to do something else, or maybe I'll do like a big oceany scene in space over here on this big space wall. It's something we'll figure it out. So let's get a title real quick. And we got to put the birds in. Yes, I almost forgot about that. Thank you. I appreciate it. I would go and take the photo. I'd be like looking at the painting. I'll take a picture of it. And then I'll look at it and go, and put the birds in. And I got to go back, put it on the easel, get the brush wet again, then clean it again. So thank you for that. launch those old birdies out there in the day. Fabulous. Woo! Cool. Okay, we're going to throw in, I got to switch to white because there's no snow down here in the bottom. So we're going to switch to our liquid white, which I always feel like just comes off the brush easier. You know what I mean? It's already super wet. You don't have to make another color. You don't have to get your palette dirty again. Just get into that liquid white, and it should drag over whatever is there. You know what I mean? And leave it nice and bright. Bang. Just like that. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Yeah, guys. Okay. I'm going to turn around. We're going to pick a title. So I've given you ample time if you wanted to grab this one. Because you know the perk, if you buy it during the show, then you get to title it, right? But I've given you ample time on this one to grab. And none of yous out there did it. So what we're going to do, let's see. Bing, bang, boom. I'll double check the last time that no one has it like in their cart and ready to. Okay, cool. So let's pick a title, guys. Yeah, guys, what we're seeing, the very first thing I see, Dreaming of Pine. I like that. It's a cool title. Let's see. Boom, ba, boom. Bang, bang, boom. 3 birds. That's always a cool title. Solitude. I like that. That's a neat one. Let's see. Mystery Valley. I like that. That plane is accurate. Absolutely. You always see those. It doesn't matter if you're in the deepest jungle or in the middle of a city. You look up and you probably see a contrail from an airplane. Fabulous. Okay, so I'm going to go with, let's see, ooh, Sunset Hollows is cool. All right, that's pretty neat. Pretty neat. Evergreen, oh, sorry, Evening Over the Mountain. I thought it said Evergreen. I might need glasses. I realize I'm getting older and I might need to get my vision checked again. Okay, so let's go with, where was Bear Crossing? That's cool too. What was the one I said? Didn't I just literally see one? Can you scroll up on TikTok a little bit? I just literally saw, okay, not that far, a little bit down. I thought Smiley, Dreaming of Pine, that's what it was. Dreaming of Pine. And Smiley, just a quick segue. If you are, in fact, dreaming of pine, Glitterwix has a wicked awesome pine tree candle that smells exactly like you're standing in the middle of the forest. So, if pine is something that you like, she has more than 65 different flavors, I like to call them. Don't drink the wax. I mean, you could. It's all natural coconut wax, but don't drink it. It doesn't taste as good as they smell. They smell amazing. The taste is like, yeah, it's kind of bland. But point being, they're skin safe, pet safe, fabric safe, drinkable safe. Just don't drink them. And you can get them on glitterwix.com. I suggest getting the morning walk, quote unquote. That's my favorite one. What are we on? 2293. 93. My fucking dumb brain. I just wrote 2, then I wrote a 9, right? But the 9 was not, no, it was a 6. No, the 6 was over here. It was 2296, and then I was like, why? I wasn't even thinking about 6. Like, why did that come out of my... It's crazy. Okay, Dreaming of Pine. I like that one. So you guys can still grab this one. It's still available. You just can no longer name it anymore, right? And that's fine. Doesn't make it any less pretty. Painted on 2/19 of 2026. And can you guys hear the whistle through the microphone when I do that? You did it? Okay. Because when I make the whistle noise, I can't hear I hear it through my open ear, but I can't hear the whistle through the mic. So I wondered if it did, in fact, do it like Herbert. Sometimes, he says. Okay, so, yeah. There we go. I'm going to really have to focus on that whistle. This one came out amazing. I can't wait to see your guys' versions of it. We did a cool little 80-minute show for you. And I can't wait to go home and hit the couch. So thank you guys all for hanging out and being here with us. We know how easy it is to scroll away and just never come back again. So thank you for sticking with us all the way through to the end. Thank you for all the awesome title suggestions. Remember, you can find amazing candles on glitterwix.com. That's glitterwicks.com. Or paintings, merch, hats, clothing, all sorts of stuff on my website, paintwithjosh.com, or the Paint with Josh app available on Google and Apple Play stores. So Can't wait to see your guys' version of this painting. When you finish it, please send it in to my Facebook page or post it into any of the comments that we ever post on. If I post so much on Facebook, you'll literally have a place to put it. Pop it into the comments. Probably going to be the easiest, quickest way for me to see it. And I can't wait. I can't wait to check it out and see what you guys can do with the techniques that I'm teaching you. So until we see you guys again next time, take care. Have a good day. And well, that one came out amazing. I want to thank you guys for being here, liking, subscribing, tapping the screen, commenting, and interacting with me. It's all been fantastic. In the meantime, before we get to our next painting, be sure you check out paintwithjosh.com because there's always something else to look at over there. So until I see you guys again next time, take care.